Good morning or afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeremy Walsh, and I'm the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar today. Today's webinar is titled Building VCP with BNI Connect. And we're really going to concentrate today on going through all the ins and outs of the member profile. I'm going to show you how to update all of the things on your member profile, some best practices for filling in the various fields within the member profile, and also where each of these pieces of information are displayed, both to the general public, meaning anybody using the internet with access to a computer, as well as members only. So there's actually two different places where you are visible, credible, and hopefully profitable in BNI. Now, this is a live webinar, so that means that as we're going through, if you have any questions today, please do feel free to raise them as we're going along. You can either type those questions in, that's usually the best method for doing so, or if you are on a computer with a microphone and or dialed in via telephone connection, if you raise your hand or drop a little chat note in, I can unmute your microphone and you can ask your question that way. This webinar is scheduled for about 30 minutes of content. However, if you do have questions, I am always happy to stay on these webinars until all of your questions are answered. And those questions can be either on the functionality today or anything about BNI Connect. The entire webinar will be recorded, including any questions, and you'll be able to access that a couple of different ways. You can always access the recordings on our support site. You can do that by clicking on this little question mark link here in the upper right-hand side of BNI Connect, and that will take you to our support page. Now, on that support page, you'll see a number of forums. Scrolling down to the bottom, you'll see the trainings section, and in this training section, you'll see webinars. We put them all up here month by month, so you'll see the August ones up there very shortly, and you can always access those in chronological order. You'll also be able to find them on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. And this has our entire library of BNI Connect videos, as well as some special videos that Dr. Meisner has produced. So let's get started with today's webinar. And again, this is about building VCP in BNI Connect, really about making sure that your profile is filled out. Now, as I said, you're going to be visible in two different places, both on the public websites as well as on the members only, the logged in portion of BNI Connect. Now, why is this important? Well, it's important because people are using BNI Connect as a resource to pass referrals on a regular basis. Let me give you a quick example. I was sitting here in my office a couple of weeks ago, well actually this goes back a couple of months now, and one of my existing clients for my company walked in the door. Now, I've been a BNI member since 2002, so about 11 years now, and I can tell you that doesn't happen very often where a client just walks in and says, hey, I'm looking for a referral. I said, I have an in-house bookkeeper, but they're a bit above their knowledge on stuff to do in QuickBooks, and do you have somebody that can help out with that? I said, absolutely. I have somebody in my chapter that's a QuickBooks certified consultant, and I really wanted to use BNI Connect to introduce this person to them. So what I did was I went to our regional website. Now, I'm using a test website right now because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus here. But I went to the regional website. I went to find a member, and I typed the person's name in. So it found the person, and I brought up the person's profile. And essentially, this is what that profile looked like. It had the person's name, had the person's business, and what chapter they were in and their category, but not much else. So I couldn't really take this. What I really kind of want to do was print this web page out, give it to my client and say, hey, here's even better than a business card. Here's a bunch of information about this person. You can go ahead and contact them. Now, this is happening on a daily basis. People are using the public regional websites in order to find people to refer business to. We have countless stories of referrals that are being passed simply because people were found on the regional websites. Now, the second place that you're visible is also on the inside of BNI Connect. So let's say that you click on BNI Connect and you log in, brings you to your home page. People are also using the BNI directory to find people. So if I go to the search people here, and let's say that I was looking for the person here. So that his name was Alfred Newman. And I would do a search, and I find him. And I really want to give Alfred a call to let him know that this client wanted to get in touch with him. And, it doesn't really help much. I can see that he's in a chapter, but it doesn't have any contact information or email or anything else in order to get in touch with this person. We've got a little bit of visibility going on, but not a whole lot of credibility, which means that Mr. Newman here isn't going to be very profitable either. Now let's turn this around a little bit. Let's say that somebody was looking to contact me. So let's say somebody goes to my regional website, and this could be an existing member that just needs to find my contact information quickly. This could be a past member or even a visitor to the chapter that wants to use my services. Or let's say it could be somebody in California that has an aunt or an uncle here in Rhode Island that wants to be able to pass a referral to a BNI person here in the area. So they would go to find a member, and let's say that they're looking for somebody to fix their computer for that aunt that's here in Rhode Island. They would do a search. And this is going to go through all of the members in the Rhode Island and southeastern Massachusetts area. And they're going to go through and probably click through some of these profiles, and hopefully they come across my profile here. Now this is a complete profile. The person would be able to learn more about me. So I'm visible. They can see me. They can see my picture. They can see my logo. They can see information about me. And hopefully it's building some credibility as well. They can go to my LinkedIn site in order to verify who I am and look at my resume, if you will. It also has information about my business. It has what my ideal referral is. This right here is the start to building a relationship. The same thing is true on the inside of BNI Connect. So let's say that somebody goes and they do a search and they wanted to find somebody that does computer support in Rhode Island. So this is going to come back with a very similar list. Somebody could click on my contact details, and again, they could find a whole bunch of information about me. Now, to members, there's a little bit more information available. For example, I've chosen to share my email address. It also has my bio information, my 60-second presentations, my gains profile, my tops profile. They can also see other people that I'm connected with, very similar to LinkedIn. They can see all of my first-level connections. They can read testimonials that people have left for me. They can also see any photos that I've chosen to share. And the groups that I'm partaking in BNI Connect. And to build even more credibility, trainings that I've attended. Now again, compare that to Mr. Newman. Nothing in the bio. We can see the people he's connected to, but we don't have any testimonials. We don't have any photos. Poor Alfred's not participating in any groups, nor has he gone to any trainings. So now who do you think that person would call when they're trying to either start a connection, a relationship with that person, or be able to pass a referral to that person? So how do you get all of this information into the system so that it displays on both the public site as well as on the inside logged-in members-only portion of BNI Connect, the BNI Global Directory? Well, that's all done through your account. So there's a couple of ways to get there. If I go back to the home page, you'll see that there's some links up here in the gray area. So I could click on Update Profile My BNI page. From just about any page in BNI Connect, you can also click on the My Account button in the upper right-hand corner. This will take us into the section where we can make all of those profile changes. Now, once you get into your My Account settings, you'll see that it's broken into a number of tabs. We have a Main Profile tab. We have the User Profile tab. We have the Contact Details tab. We have the Account Settings tab, the Bio tab, a Director Profile. If you happen to be a director in BNI, an ambassador or a director consultant or executive director, you would have a Director Profile tab as well, and your training history. So let's start with the first one here, and that's the Main Profile. Now this is just your basic information up at the top here. So it has your name and your company name. If you need to make changes to these, you may see a Request Change button, which will allow you to send a change request to your regional office in order to change your name or your company. The next thing on here is the VAT reference number. Now we do have a global audience, but for those of you that are here on the call that are in the United States, what VAT stands for is Value Added Tax. So this is a required field in some countries that need to have this available on their business profiles for the regional office to have access to. Value Added Tax is similar to our sales tax here in the United States. If you are in the United States, you can safely ignore this field. The next couple of fields here are not editable directly, but they show you what you are listed as for an industry and a classification, basically your primary and secondary category, as well as your chapter and your membership status. Now, if those are incorrect, don't panic. Just contact your regional office, and they'll be able to make that change for you, either your director, consultant, or ambassador, or give a call to your executive director or regional admin. Now, the next two sections here are where we're going to need to spend a little bit more time and creativity. The first one is the My Business Description. The My Business Description, the way I look at that is it's kind of like your elevator pitch. So think about when you go to open networking at your chapter meeting on a weekly basis, and maybe there's a visitor there, and you go up and you talk to that visitor. What would you say to this visitor to briefly describe what it is that you do? Now, you want this to be kind of short and sweet, probably no more than a couple of sentences or a paragraph. Especially when it comes to websites, people are not going to read a novella on your website. So you need to be short to the point, but have some good descriptive words in there to describe your business. Now, this one is extra important because it shows up in both places. So again, this is going to show up in your profile on the inside of BNI Connect. So going back here, this is going to show up here on your My Business Description. It's also going to show up, if I go back again to find myself here on the regional website. Again, this is the public internet page, but it still pulls information from the inside of BNI Connect. It's going to show up here as well. So this is one of those very important fields to make sure that you have filled out. Now, when you make changes and save them by clicking the Update button, those changes will happen immediately. So you don't have to wait for anything to be published or call anybody to make those changes go live. So let's just say I go ahead and I update my business description here with some new information. I'm going to go ahead and click Update. I'm just going to reload this page, and you'll see that those changes happen immediately. I'm going to go ahead and put my other description back. Let's take a look at the next fields here. The next field are the keywords. Now, the keywords are important because that's how people find you when they don't know your name. So there's a lot of times when people will go to the regional website or they'll go into the magnifying glass search and they're looking for a category or a specific service that you might offer. Here is where you fill in words to help with that. Some tips that I have for this, make sure that you're using complementary words for your business. So for example, you might have an industry of accounting and a classification of bookkeeping. You may also want to put bookkeeper into the keywords. You may want to have accountant as well as accounting so that people may be searching from one word or another. Other things that you could put in here are search terms that people might use to locate the area that you're in. So when people are searching on either of the two sites, either the public site or the members only search, it's going to find the state that you reside in, so where your address is located, but you might also do business in neighboring states or counties. Or maybe there's a nickname for the particular area that you're in. For example, I'm here in Rhode Island. Rhode Island is a really small state. It's only 20 miles wide by 40 miles high. I also do business very regularly in Connecticut, right next door, as well as in Massachusetts on the other side of the state. So what I would like to do is make sure that in my keywords I put in Massachusetts and Connecticut. So that way if people are searching for computer support in Connecticut, they'll also find my name and my profile. Let's take a look at the second page here. And the second page is having to do with your user profile. So this is really your username, your password, your challenge question and answer. So you can make your username anything you'd like it to be as long as it's unique in the system just by clicking Change Username. You can also change your password. A good idea is to change your password every now and again to make sure that people aren't compromising your account. Now the question and answer, where that comes in is if you forget your password and you need to get into BNI Connect, they are going to ask you for your question and answer. It's important to note that the answer is space sensitive. So that means that if you have a question that says something like, what street did you live on as a kid? You want to make sure that you put in a good answer. So if I put in something like Main Street, that is a different answer, obviously, than Main Street. So have an answer that's easy to remember, but difficult to guess. You can choose your language. The BNI Connect is translated into about 40 or so languages. Keep in mind that there are also about a dozen different versions of English in BNI Connect. This will affect not only the language that's displayed, but things like the date format. So if you're in the United States, we usually use the month, the day, the year. So today would be 8/23/2013. In most European countries, they use the day, then the month, then the year. So it would actually be 23/8/2013. If you notice dates in the system are off, they're not the way that you expect them to be, please make sure that you have the correct version of English set in your profile. You can also choose your time zone and upload a picture and company logo. Now, uploading a picture or logo is as easy as clicking on the button. Let's say I would like to change my logo. I would click on the little magnifying glass. This will allow me to search through my computer to pick a different logo. So let's say that I'd like to use this whitish logo instead. You can also crop your image if you only want a certain piece of it showing. And click Save. And now my new logo will be displayed on my profile. Of course, if you make any changes on any of these pages, be sure to click the Update button. Now, the next tab has all of your contact details, basically your phone number, your addresses, your email addresses, social media addresses. You can put in all of these different addresses. On here is also where we start to have a little bit of choice about what gets displayed on the public site. So these all have to do with the public websites and what gets shown up there. So again, that would be this particular page that's up on this BNI RI site. Keep in mind that if you uncheck this top box, it will mean that you will not be found in any of the searches on the public website. Let me show you what that means. It overrides all of these other settings. So if I uncheck this top box, I'm going to go ahead and update this. This means that if somebody was to go to find a member, even if they search for me by name, they will not find me. They'll find the other two, Jeremy out there and a Walsh out there, but they will not find me. So if you'd like to be found, make sure that you do at least have this top checkbox checked. Now you can also choose which of your phone numbers you'd like to be displayed. So if you'd like your direct number or your mobile number, I probably don't want to have my direct number on there because it's exactly the same as my regular phone number. Your fax number, your toll-free number. You can choose whether or not to display your website. And you can add social media links as well, and or choose whether or not to show them on the public website. We have a number of different outside social media links that you can add. The bottom portion is just your physical addresses. So we have your address and your billing address. You can choose whether to show the main address, the billing address, or neither address. Your regional office, if they need to contact you or send you anything, or let's say that you are a president of your chapter and they ship you supplies, they are always going to use this billing address. So do make sure that this has a legitimate address in here. If you'd like to display your town and your state and your zip code, but let's say that you work out of your house, you could always put something in like by appointment only, so that it still retains that privacy of the address, but you could have at least the town, the state, and the country that you reside in. Now we have a couple of questions. Let's see, Janine asks, does public mean public or does it mean BNI members? Public means public. So this BNIRI.com, this is a regional website, and every region has a website through BNI Connect, and every chapter also has a website through BNI Connect. So for example, my chapter also has a public website that anybody on the internet can get to, and this will also list all of the members here. So if I did not want to be viewed by the general public, again, anybody on the internet with a computer, I could choose to be not shown on that public website. And that's what this top setting here is. I wouldn't be seen on either of the chapter or that regional website. Now on the inside of BNI Connect, this profile, this is once you log into BNI Connect and you use the magnifying glass, this has a different set of permissions. So does that answer your question, Janine? So Trish says, how do you add the Facebook logo next to your link? And the Facebook logo should appear automatically. So this automatically pulls actually from Facebook and inserts the logo there. So that's something that's, again, handled directly by the system. It's not something that you add. So hopefully that answers your question, Trish. Sharon says, how do you get the MSP ribbon to show on your profile as well as testimonials? So the MSP ribbon here, that will show up as soon as you have a member success program in your training history. So if you don't have an MSP ribbon on here, but you have attended an MSP, just contact your regional office and let them know to please add a member success program training to your history. Then that will show up automatically. So hopefully that answers your question, Sharon. And testimonials come from connections. So I'll show you that in just a couple of minutes if you'd like to. Janine says, does billing address show to the public too? And again, that's a choice. So down here, when you fill out your billing address, you can choose which one appears on the public website, your main address, your billing address, or neither. So that's a choice that you can make, which address shows or none. And John asks, will this webinar automatically update the training profile? This particular webinar will not automatically update in the training profile because we don't mark attendance. We don't register it through BNI Connect because it has to go through GoToWebinar. This one is not automatically maintained in the system. So, and you can get credits for it by submitting a CEU. And there is a section on the CEU here in the United States now that allows for webinars. It would count as a 1 CEU credit. So hopefully that answers those questions. All right, let's look at some of these other tabs. We have about 3 minutes left till the bottom of the hour. I'm going to skip the next tab for now, but the bio tab is where this is really the big credibility portion of it, especially when we're talking about profiles for members only, so the member-to-member profiles on the inside of BNI Connect. So this bio is the same bio that you would be handed before a 10-minute presentation at your chapter. Exact same format. Now the great thing is that rather than scrambling before your 10-minute presentation, you can just kind of set it and forget it, so to speak, so that your secretary-treasurer can pull this automatically before a speaking engagement. Now the commercials are important to put in because when people are looking at your commercials on your profile, there are 80,000 members in the United States and over 150,000 members worldwide. That's a lot of people that could be potentially looking at your profile. Now I can almost guarantee you that of the 150,000 members in BNI around the world, 149,920 of them will never attend one of your chapter meetings and will never have the opportunity to hear one of your 60 seconds. However, if you put them up on your profile, they can read them and learn a little bit more about you. Now the gains profile, again, that's goals, accomplishments, interests, networks, and skills. This is great to have up there, especially for the gains exchange. So before you do a one-to-one with somebody, you should be looking at their gains profile or even printing it out and bringing it with you to your one-to-one. It really helps to further take that one-to-one to the next level and further the conversation into different areas that you may not have thought of before. And finally, we have the TOPS profile. Now, the TOPS profile is important because this one also appears on the public website. So if I go back to my public profile, you'll see that the TOPS profile shows up here. So the bio, the gains, and the commercials do not show on the public website, but the TOPS profile and the My Business description from the first tab both do. Now, if you're a director, you can also fill out your director profile. And again, the training history is for your review, but if something's missing here, please contact your regional office. Now, the final thing I'm going to show you is your account settings tab. Now, the checkboxes on this particular page have to do with the public website. You can change your member-to-member settings. Again, that's this profile here on the inside of BNI Connect. People finding you using the magnifying glass. You can change those settings here. So you can show which of the tabs you would like to share with other members. So either to everybody, to my connections, or to nobody. The second section has to do with notifications. So there are discussion groups in BNI Connect. You can choose how often you receive any of those notifications, either every time something new is added, once per day, once per week, or not at all. And finally, this has to do with the social media announcements. So if you receive an inside BNI Connect message, or if you receive a connections request, if you'd like that also forwarded to your external email. So that covers the tabs on the profiles. We are at the bottom of the hour, so if anybody does need to leave right away at the bottom of the hour, I would like to thank you for being here. As I said earlier, I am very happy to stick around for as long as necessary to answer all of your questions. So for those of you that can stick around for a couple more minutes, now would be the time to start putting in your questions. And again, for those of you that do need to leave right away, this will be recorded, including all the questions, if you would like to review it later. So, okay, so we have a couple of questions showing up here. Let's see, Land says, thank you, very valuable. Remind me, how do I get this listed under my trainings? So the way to do that would be to call your regional office, your executive director or regional admin, and please ask them to add this to your trainings for the webinar session today. And again, for a CEU, if you'd like a CEU for today, go back to your home screen, to the My BNI Business page. Click on Enter CEUs. And you can see here that the second item down says 5 podcasts or a BNI webinar. So just put in a quantity of 1 and click Submit. And you will have entered a CEU for yourself for today's webinar. Let's see, Sharon had asked earlier how to get the MSP ribbon, which I think I answered. But how about testimonials? So again, if you notice on my profile, I have a number of testimonials that have been given to me. Those show up on your profile when other people give you a testimonial in BNI Connect. So the first thing is that they have to be connected to you. So they would have had to send you a connection request. Once you're connected with people, you can view your connections by going to My Network. And you can see a couple of the connections here. You can click Manage, or you can click on Network Connections. Now, once you get into your connections list, you can click and look at their condensed profile. You can ask them to give you a testimonial. And of course, giver's gain, the best thing to do would be to start off by giving that person a testimonial. And that would have it appear on their profile. So does that answer your question, Sharon? And if you'd like to review your testimonials that you've received and given, click on the Testimonials button, and that will bring you over to the Testimonials interface. So you can either review the testimonials people gave you, you can choose to hide them from your profile, or you can choose to delete them. You can also review the testimonials that you've given through this interface as well. Land asks, can we connect to someone outside of BNI? And the answer to that is no. The inside connections are BNI members only. It is a privilege of membership to be in BNI Connect, and a privilege of membership to be able to connect with other members worldwide, including directors and executive directors and other people that work in the BNI system. So hopefully that answers your question, Land. Let's see, John says, how do I correct a referral or thank you that I have entered incorrectly after I hit submit? So once you enter a referral or any of the slips online, At this time, it's permanent. So there's no way right now to go in and let's say I had entered some thank you for closed business, and let's say that this one was incorrect that I had entered. I had entered it for $100. It was really supposed to be $1,000 or $10,000. Again, right now we can't correct that in the slips themselves. In order to get that number corrected in the POMS report, what I'd have to do is talk to my vice president, and they could correct the numbers within the report. They still have full control of the report. Now, for the very next version of BNI Connect, which is due sometime in late November, early December, we are working out a way that you can edit one of these slips up until the time that the report has been submitted. So there will become available an edit button. Again, that's coming in the November, December timeframe. So hopefully that answers your question, John. Trish says that her Facebook icons are not showing up. If you'd like to, I believe we actually have a quote-unquote bug report in with the programmers for that one. It looks like it's actually, in many cases, it's the browser is not allowing the, it's not really a cookie, but it's not allowing the connection over to Facebook to allow that icon to populate. So it's kind of outside of the system, but we do have a notice in about that already with the programmers. And you're welcome to submit another one if you'd like to, Trish. And yes, that Firefox browser thing again, it is browser specific. All right, Sharon says, we provide written testimonials at our meeting, which is different than this. And yes, however, Sharon, one thing that you can do is if you have received a written testimonial, let's say even from a client, you can display that on your profile. I'll show you how. So let's go back to my profile here in BNI Connect. So this is my inside BNI Connect profile. You'll notice that there is a photo sharing. You can share up to 20 photos, I believe, in here. They don't have to necessarily be photos of your kids or random things. One thing you can do is take one of your written testimonials, scan it into your computer, save it as a JPEG or a PNG or a GIF file, and upload it into this photo sharing. So for example, here's one that I had actually gotten as an email, and I just saved, I took a screenshot of that email and saved it. And that way I was able to put this up into my profile. Now the next one, I took a letter that had come in. I scanned it into the computer and saved it as a JPEG file and uploaded it to my profile. Now the place to upload photos into this library is under Network, Picture Gallery. So you could take those written testimonials and upload them into this picture gallery. So hopefully that answers your question, Sharon. All right, that was the last question I had on my list. Does anybody else have any questions at all? Any questions about BNI Connect or about the profile or what shows up where or, again, anything else in the system? I'm happy to answer those questions now. While you're thinking up any last questions, just a reminder, this is being recorded. It will be made available at youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. You'll be able to find it there. You'll also be able to find it on our support site, which is support.bniconnect.com, or just click that little question mark in BNI Connect. And again, at the bottom, you'll see trainings and a webinar section. And finally, what I would love is if you could give me a like up on our Facebook page. So if you go to facebook.com/BNI Connect Global, this is our Facebook page. Please do give us a like, and we do things like webinar announcements and reminders and tips and tricks, and we share support documentation and all sorts of things up here on the BNI Connect Global Facebook site as well. So please do give us a like. And finally, if you found today's webinar useful, please Don't keep it a secret. Go back to your chapters, go back to your regions, let them know about these trainings. We'll be putting together September's. This was the last live webinar in August. We'll be putting together the September schedule. In the next couple of days, you'll see that populated on all the regional calendars as well as on the support site. So let's see, we did have one more question, and it says, this is from Land. He says, how do we link to our BNI profile from another social media profile? Well, one way to do that would be to go find yourself on your regional website. So if I go up to my regional website and I find myself and go to this page, you can take this link and put it anywhere you want. Again, this is a publicly accessible link. It is a very long link because it's basically for security purposes, but you can link to this from anywhere that you'd like to. So hopefully that answers your question, Land. All right, do we have any other questions? All right, well, thank you so much for being here today. Again, please let your other chapter members and regions know about these webinars. We'd love to get all the knowledge out of our heads and into yours. So hopefully you all know a little bit more about VCP and BNI Connect. Thank you for being here. Happy connecting, everyone, and have a great weekend.